Doctor Strange sends him through a portal for 20 minutes, and then he's like, "Oh, you think you're some sort of sorcerer?" I mean, if I was Doctor Strange, I'd be going, "Yeah, I do, because I've done way more than you in like 2 movies." Hello, guys, and welcome back to the Full Fat Podcast. I'm your host, Matt Will. I'm joined by Terry Merkin and Charlie Lilly, who I have a little surprise for, because last week, you may remember we were speaking about a certain piece of neckwear, and we asked people in the comments to tell us what it is. Turns out it's a bolo tie, and I've got one. I've got one for the pod.
Fantastic.
So I'm going to put that on there.
Excuse me.
I don't think I can get it over the... Oh, there we go. Oh, no, but of course, now it's caught by the...
Oh, no.
That's it. You're strapped into the podcast for life now.
I'll tell you what. Hang on. Let me do it underneath. You guys filibust while I put this visual gag on.
The visual
we could
gag.
fast forward this bit in the edit.
Everyone on... People in the audio podcast are like, what the fuck is going on? What are these weirdos up to now?
We need to start giving audio descriptions of our visual sketches.
I feel like you should be like some sort of spiritual person with that on. You look like
when I put it on, I felt that I had gone on a really spiritual journey of volunteerism recently, and that my really rich parents had nothing to do with the fact that I went away. It's just about my energies, man.
All that yoga's gotten to you, Matt, innit?
Day 9 of yoga with Adrian. I'm feeling stretchy. My downward dogs have been fantastic.
They've been getting better. They're getting better.
I love how I'm like, they're fantastic, Terry. They're getting better.
They're getting better, yeah. Making progress.
We, of course, this week watched Loki Episode 3. And I feel like we should just dive straight into it, because me and Charlie just watched it. Terry, I know you watched it a few hours ago. And we are riding off the hype train of that. Yes. We will get to that, Terry. We will get to that.
What's that?
Let me synopt the plot first. So, it was kind of a multi-Doctor special, but with 2 Lokis, with Loki and Lady Loki, or Sylvie, shall we say, getting to know each other and trying to find a new power source for their teleporter, and getting into all sorts of hijinks. It sort of hit pause on the plot a little bit this week, so we could learn a bit more about Lady Loki, and it was an action-heavy episode, wasn't it? And it was, of course, sans Mr. Owen Wilson, Agent Mobius. Terry, take it away now. What do you think?
Bisexual characters!
Yeah.
And they said it out loud.
They did.
Okay,
Both
I'm
of them.
done. I'll stop now.
I've never seen that flag before. What is that the
This is a bisexual flag.
The bi flag.
bisexual flag? That's interesting. I didn't know that.
It's kind of like
now.
the Avengers, where they have all their own logos and stuff, but then when they come together, they're the Avengers logo.
I see with all the colours.
That's it.
Terry, would you say that is the straightest way you could describe LGBT?
Possibly, yes, possibly.
To us non-nuts. Or just me.
That is of course like a...
It was a
is that
big deal for me.
Is that the first confirmed gay character, generally in terms of a lead character? I think so, in the MCU.
Completely gay character. I suppose it would be, yes.
As in it's
queer.
Explicitly confirmed.
Yes, said out loud.
It's not Joe Russo cameoing as one of the support guys saying he's dating a man. It's an actual character we're following, who's the focal point of the show.
And it was just said explicitly, loud and proud. It's like they've heard my representation spiel a few weeks ago, and now they're just going, what can we do to get Terry on board? And they did it, and I'm in.
You're in.
Yeah, it's so funny that happened the week before, isn't it? And then you got all your answers.
Yeah.
Did everything I was waiting for. But apart from that,
I think
I was going to move on, but you were going to...
Oh, well, I was going to say... Well, because Charlie O was like... there weren't a lot of revelations. But I feel like that is probably...
That's a huge revelation.
Yeah, but it was
I
kind
was
of...
thinking more about the story, wasn't I?
The plot, yeah. I guess it was kind of as well, like, as much as it is a big moment, it's understated in terms of the actual scene. There's kind of a bit of a wink, wink, nudge, nudge moment where Loki takes a pause before he says it. But other than that, do you know what I mean? It's just a part of their organic conversation.
Yes, it wasn't like, here, have some stuff. Because
it wasn't like, I'm gay.
Exactly. It was just like, it was organic. It was how the conversations go. You know,
Loki has had many would-be princes and princesses.
Oh, I love that.
It's nice to see you so happy about it, Terry, I must say.
I'm very happy. And this is why we want representation, so people can see themselves and feel excited about that. Like, I genuinely feel so excited, and it was a huge moment for me. So, and apart from that, I had a really great time watching the episode. I really liked that it was just the two of them. I thought that the sense of impending doom just got worse and worse and worse. And yeah, I had a really great time.
I really wanted to ask you as well, because obviously you've been talking about female characters the last couple of weeks. I personally felt like she was a really good female character in the sense that just because she was like the new Loki on the block, they didn't make her like the Uber Loki that's always mugging him off and getting everything right. Like there was, moments where he was ahead of the game or he mugged her off. I really liked the moment where they spoke to that settler and she like went to charge him with her sword and she got like knocked back a couple of feet.
Yes.
I thought all those moments were really fun, and I think she felt like a three-dimensional character.
Yes.
Would you agree with that?
Yes, especially in terms of like their relationship with each other. I found myself quite early on in the episode going like, I don't know if I can put up with them bickering like this for a long, long time. I was sat there thinking like their relationship has to evolve. So, I sat and waited and it really did. And they found moments of like trust and that, you can see in ways that they're similar and in the ways that they're different. And, I think she's a really great character. She's really competent, but she's also got flaws. I'm really impressed with the character work in this series.
Fantastic. Chazza Beast, Charizard, my main man.
Yeah. So I just keep thinking about the fact that I think that me and Matt look incredibly punchable right now.
I mean, I don't think there's much I can do about that. Glasses or not, bolo tie or not.
It's true.
I like how you think that it's right now. No ways.
Brilliant.
I often like when I'm like winding Charlie up, like teasing him in front of his girlfriend earlier, siding with her to wind him up, which he really didn't like. It was hilarious. I like to mention to him that don't I have like a face that you wouldn't want to punch? I don't, do I? You wouldn't say that, would you? That's when I get to the height of winding Charlie up.
The bolo tie just like...
It's more like less of a punch, it's more of a wringing of the neck.
Why, you little...
Shake him warmly by the throat.
Yes, exactly.
I think the bug sunglasses, like the sort of circular domes, are making it worse.
You look super hippie because you've got the glasses and this
the
little like
bolo
band
tie.
thing.
Bolo man.
And the hair, like the floppy hair. It's brilliant.
Look, you don't choose the bolo life. The bolo life chooses you.
Here is my resignation for the Full Fact podcast.
But one thing I did like, by the way, which is a bit of a fanboy quibble, but I just thought it was nice to see, is I've always been bothered that we hear about how powerful Loki is and how he's got all these tricks, and then we never fucking see them.
Yeah.
He's always doing the same two tricks. Doctor Strange sends him through a portal for 20 minutes, and then he's like, oh, you think you're some sort of sorcerer? I mean, if I was Doctor Strange, I'd be going, yeah, I do, because I've done way more than you in like 2 movies. So it's nice now to see him doing different tricks, learning tricks from Lady Loki, and just doing a bit more variety in the combat. He kept shooting out those green blasts of dust.
Yeah, that was cool.
I just thought, it's fun, just to make it a bit more dynamic, because as we've seen this week, the fights are not going to be up to par with the best of the MCU, and that's okay, because it's not really what I want from Loki.
It's not really about that, yeah.
No. But
I was shocked to see him throw a spinning back kick.
That was pretty sweet. I was like,
sweet. What?
Yeah.
That was pretty sweet.
Cool.
Just kick someone out. I was never expecting that from a Loki show.
I feel like loads of things we've seen in the Loki show are things that I never thought I'd get out of Loki. Do you know what I mean? Like him doing Doctor Who stuff, him meeting himself, him meeting Jodie Whittaker's Loki. And just like the range that we've gotten out of Hiddleston with Loki.
Absolutely.
You know, he's been comedic, he's been awkward, he's been brenting, he's been nasty at points. I'm having a blast.
Yeah,
No,
I do
same.
think Tom Hiddleston is an incredible actor, and you can really see like the amount of work he puts into the character. It definitely.
Well, Ben
pays
Wheatley,
off.
you know, he didn't think he had a lot of range.
Yes, we
he had a lot of range.
we did that last week.
Which would actually be a perfect segue to our In the Earth review.
You did it too quick, mate. You did it too
But yeah,
quick.
we did it too quick. I shot my In the Earth load.
Yeah, you did.
Yeah, we've got a bit more Loki to get through, haven't we?
Yeah,
I'd say.
I just want to say about Loki that the episode, I thought, like you said, Matt, was lacking in sort of the wider plot. And we got a couple of character stuff. I think the biggest reveal for me was the variant stuff. That a lot of people, the timekeepers, whatever they're called, were variants. I thought that was very interesting. And I think I'm intrigued to see if that's something Mobius knows, or if
I don't think he does.
Chooses not to believe, sort of thing.
Because the vibe I get from him is very much like, it's very tied to like creationist kind of beliefs, isn't it? Like he believes the timekeepers birthed them all, and this is their glorious purpose, and this is right.
Would it not be interesting if he turned out to be the villain?
Owen Wilson is the villain. Owen Wilson is the villain. Wow.
Wow.
But he's already such a great character.
I don't know if I need Agent Mobius versus Loki. I feel like what's nice about that pair is that they are going to work together. I think he'll be devastated to find out he's a variant, though. I can't imagine he already knows that. I'd be surprised.
Yeah.
So we're not
But you
going to
know what?
get... It
Could
was Mobius all along.
I hope
None of
not.
that.
I hope not.
No.
Damn it.
We've had that one already. with the
We've still
MCU.
got Richard E. Grant to come. And
We
Lady
have.
Loki could still turn out to be a duplicitous Loki.
This is true.
A naughty Loki variant.
All
It's
Loki
true.
variants are naughty.
They are pretty naughty, aren't they? Yeah.
Alright, bye guys. Alright. Let's calm down.
It's not what I
Both
meant,
Lokis
but-
very attractive. They're very lovely. Yes.
I wasn't talking about that. I was talking about how cheeky and naughty they are.
Yeah, so was
actually.
I, Matthew.
See, Matt's
Well,
going off on the...
maybe my bolo tie slipped, and I was talking about my own mind.
Can't take you seriously with the bolo tie on.
No,
You can't
it's-
take me
it's
seriously anyway.
It's like you're wearing a choker.
Or you can tell I do anal on the first date. Because of my glasses, and the bolo tie also completes the ensemble. Well,
Can you make
well,
it any tighter?
aside from scarring Terry for life, any other thoughts on this week's Loki?
I really liked the moon planet place they were, the location,
Yes.
the set. I thought it was really cool, really nice to look at compared to the place, the TVA. It's very different. I really enjoyed it.
Yeah, it was cool. I'm often sat there like thinking, why can't Doctor Who get this kind of budget and background and imagination? But
Yeah.
it's a story for another time.
It's
Charlie.
true. Because I was sitting there thinking, like, I guess all it is, a lot of it, is just sort of some sort of dirt, sort of sand dirt thing, and then they just
Yeah.
got into post and then changed the hue. In, like, Da
There
Vinci
seems to be
Resolve or
some
something.
sort of background green screen element, doesn't there?
Yes,
Like when they're
definitely.
walking along and stuff.
Yeah, I wondered, because there was parts of it where I was like, oh, this kind of like looks a little bit like The Mandalorian in terms of the effects of it. And I was like, oh, I wonder when they're using that software, or software or kit that they've got, you know, the whole projected screen thing.
In terms of the actual art design of the place, you kept saying it was very Borderlands, and I very much agree with you. It did feel like
Yes.
Loki had gone to Borderlands world for an episode.
I can
It
definitely
was
see
very
that.
weird.
But it also, it still fits in with like that Guardians aesthetic, that Ragnarok
Oh,
kind of
definitely.
aesthetic.
Yes,
Yeah.
I love how much the movies in the MCU have sort of leaned more into that kind of like Jack Kirby style of drawing. Do you know what I mean? In terms of all the colours, it's very colourful, and I like that because that's kind of what I feel like reading a Marvel comic. Like as a kid, it's kind of giving me that back, and I feel like it's because this is being made by people who grew up with these comics, and or obviously they must have that in mind 100%.
I particularly loved like when Sylvie was enchanting or trying to enchant Loki, and they were kind of silhouetted, and there was this sort of red light that sort of bathed on the top of them when they were hiding out. I was like, the lighting has gotten a lot more interesting, hasn't it, since the kind of the more flat MCU blockbuster days. It's kind of weird though, because as much as I think it's lit better and it's a lot more colourful now, it's got a bit more of a TV feel now, so it's kind of like you've kind of traded one for the other, haven't you?
It's true.
Yeah.
I don't quite know what that is.
I think it's all the green screening and stuff, isn't it? It's just got that, it's still got that TV feel ever so slightly.
Yeah, I think that's due to, it feels like to me that everyone's always very well lit, and that's usually because there's a green screen there. Everything has to be well lit, doesn't it? There doesn't seem to be that much contrast, with the exception of like last episode when we go to the tent and like but that's different because they're in a tent, aren't they? Do you know what I mean? Sort of things like that.
I'm okay with that. Do you know what I mean?
No,
I'm
same,
okay with well lit green screen stuff, and then
100%. I mean, that's what the MCU has always kind of done anyway. And I think it's great. I think the aesthetic totally fits. It's fun. It's got that kind of. I feel like it's got that kind of. What's the word? Like kind of not texture, but do you know how like we said, Doctor Who? It's got that kind of. It does have that kind of feel of like this kind of over the top kind of sci-fi looking, but it's fun, right? It kind of feels right.
Yeah.
I love hearing you guys talk about lighting, because it's never something that I think of, and then after we've watched something you'll talk about it and I'll be like, oh yes, light.
I just think it's one of those things, the more you try to learn about lighting principles, the more you kind of notice stuff, like particularly when you find out that like an easy way to light a scene will be to actually put the light within the scene. Do you know what I mean? As soon as you learn that, then you're constantly going, oh, they've used that light to light the scene, that torch or that lamp is actually lighting the scene, blah, 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 or they're using it to pretend that's where the light's coming from, etc.
Like have they put
stuff
light
like that
into the production design sort of stuff?
Yeah.
Interesting.
Like when Billy Crudup's when he's having his chest burster in Covenant, it's all lit by that torch, isn't it? That's dropped on the ground.
That's really cool.
That kind of thing.
A very bright torch.
Just torches light up the whole room. But yeah, I think probably in terms of looking at the last 3 episodes, probably the weakest episode, but only because it didn't move along. Yeah, I'd say in terms of like the last 2, I think were pretty stonky, and this one I was very much enjoying it, but could have done with a bit more plot. But that's okay.
Yes,
I'm not saying I don't mean to be negative about it. I did enjoy it a lot.
See, I wouldn't say it's like better than the others, but it's not my least favourite. So I think at the moment the 3 episodes are all on par for me.
Okay. Well, I feel like my mum instilled in me that someone's got to come last, usually myself, and that means I would put episode 3 last this week.
At the bottom.
But I still think it was a good episode, yeah. I think it kind of had that thing of the Madripoor episode in Falcon Winter Soldier, where it kind of feels like we've gone on a bit of a side mission, it's kind of slowed down, the momentum's not quite as there. And also in a similar way, like John Walker and Mobius have a lot of focus in the first 2 eps, or in terms of the plotting anyway, and then they both drop out of episode 3. Feels like they're kind of retreading a similar structure there.
Yeah, I think I agree. I think kind of the issue. It's not an issue because I think the episode was great. I think if we're just comparing it to the others, it's just that for me, it's like they land on this planet, and their whole thing is trying to get off the planet for the whole episode, and they don't get off the planet by the end of the episode.
Yeah,
and I think that's kind of where my problem with it lied, in terms of like it felt like more of a bottle episode. More of a bottle episode in that sense because of
Charlie's demon came out.
Yeah. A little furball. I felt like that kind of hindered it for me, in the sense of like we didn't quite you trapped us somewhere and then you didn't quite give us any more than that.
I liked the fact that they didn't get off the planet, because there was like that sense of doom, like that and now I'm like wondering like what's next. I I enjoyed it. I thought it was a nice way to end the episode, and it's kept me going for next episode. I'm excited. I'm having a good time.
Fair enough. I kind of feel like it felt like episode 3 out of a series of 8 rather than a series of 6.
Yes. I think because it's 6 episodes as well. That's why I feel like it's the least of the 3. I mean, let's be honest. We might get all 6, and then I might watch them together, and I might be like, oh, actually, that episode was really fun. But I think now, not knowing where it goes, it's difficult because it's like you've only got 6 episodes. What are we doing here? What's this? Where are we going to? Where's this? What's the end goal here, kind of thing? And I like that about that because I like that the show. I don't quite know where it's going, but yeah, I think because this episode. Because we've only got 6 episodes, and this one was kind of like the bottle episode. I think it makes me worried that there will be another one.
Well, we've still got roughly 3 hours left, haven't we?
Yeah, and this was the shortest episode as well.
Yeah,
so.
And of course there is the possibility that episodes 4, 5, and 6 could be much, much worse.
That's also true.
Could happen.
Could just dive bomb.
I hope not. Yeah, could just dive bomb. Who knows?
That would be sad. Because it's been fantastic so far. I've had an absolute blast of it.
I suppose you could say if it dive bombed, it would go into the earth. Would you not say? It would go into the earth.
I'd say it could go into the earth, yeah.
That was
Into
weak
the Earth.
sauce.
Directed by Ben Wheatley, starring Jaden Smith and Will Smith, is a sci-fi film where they end up stranded on a planet. Oh, sorry. Did you say in the Earth? I thought you said after Earth.
I was really confused because I've definitely seen After Earth, and I was like, it's definitely not called Into the Earth.
Wasn't your dad obsessed with After Earth, you said?
He got I think he just really liked Will Smith, and he really loves the idea that it was Will Smith and Jaden Smith, and he was just like, as it was coming out, he was like super obsessed, and he kept being like, we've got to see it, we went to see it, and I sat there, I was like, that was shite, and he loved it, and so I was just like, you know what, let him have it, he's having a good time.
What was the other thing? We were like watching a DVD and the trailers were on, and there was one film that I was like, that ended up being quite underwhelming, and you were like, my dad was obsessed with that as well. What was it? Oblivion.
Oh,
with Tom Cruise.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes, I remember him. I never watched that one.
Not a great movie.
Yeah.
Not a great movie.
No.
But yeah, Charlie, would you like to regale us with Into the Earth? What's it all about?
Okay, so it's about our protagonist, whose name I've forgotten. Do you remember the protagonist's name?
It's Daniel or something like that, isn't it? He's like a nerd. It's a nerd name.
Daniel is some sort of science dude.
It must be a really memorable film if you can't remember the protagonist's name.
Okay, hang on. So, that's it. That's it. Here we go. It's Martin.
Martin. Oh yeah.
Daniel.
Martin.
The weird guy is called Zach. Charlie, for reference.
Yep, I remember Zach.
His companion's called Alma, and then the scientist is called Olivia, Dr. Wendell.
Okay. So yeah, it's about a guy called Martin, who's like a science dude, isn't he? He's a science dude.
Apologies to all Martins everywhere that I call nerds, by the way. Matt's like, I'm the biggest freaking nerd. Look at this. I'm pulling my friends in to do a podcast talking about In the Earth. Anyway, go on, Charlie. Continue.
You dropped me in this. So
I just didn't want any Martins to sort of get out of their seat while they're listening and sort of make a beeline for me, possibly with some sort of weapon.
All the Martins are going to come after you, mate.
The rise of the Martins.
Yeah. So it's about this guy called Martin, who he basically it's set during the pandemic, isn't it? And it was actually shot during the pandemic as well. And it's basically they go to this certain area in the woods where they believe is like some really like good soil, and they can't quite figure out why. So Alma and Martin set off to basically go into the woods. They've heard some weird stories about the woods, the classic. Mm-hmm. And whilst they're there, they camp for the night because it's quite a big trip in the woods. And they basically they lose.
Do you feel like
too much?
That's kind of... Yeah, I feel like there's enough there.
Really? I don't feel like that gives you anything in terms of... They go into the woods?
I wouldn't want to spoil anything.
Yeah, that's the
past
problem,
that point. But it just in broad strokes, it's a explorers going into the forest type horror movie. You know, it's got that Blair Witch kind of the ritual vibes, but it's distinctly Wheatley. It's very kill listy, very much a return to form.
100%. I would say to people, it's like Kill List meets A Field in England. That's how I describe it for anyone who's a fan of Ben Wheatley's stuff.
No, I don't know what you mean.
I think you do.
I didn't like the last couple of things he's made. I wasn't a big fan of High Rise.
No, nor was I.
I know you liked Free Fire. I didn't really like Free Fire much. And I wanted to like both of them. In the Earth, I think, was a real return to form. Really enjoyed it. And as you were saying, Charlie, you mentioned the pandemic set storyline. I think it dealt with the pandemic not only head on, but in such a satisfying way, both for the plot, the nature of the horror that we discover, and the character dynamics themselves.
Yep. 100%.
And it was also really effectively creepy, I thought. The cinema we saw it at, the sound design was mwah.
Top tier.
It was exactly the sort of horror quality I wanted from Conjuring 3 that we didn't get.
Yes. We were also in the perfect seats. And also the seats were actually... At first I was worried because they were quite upright. And I don't usually like the seats too upright. But they were so comfy. They were hella
really comfy.
Soft. And we were right in the middle. And it was it was the perfect viewing of the movie. And I would agree with you. What I like about this film is that I think we said, without spoiling anything, we said kind of halfway through, there's another movie in here, and this movie could have finished at a certain point, and it keeps going and going into this other movie that you're happy it's still doing. I think the best kind of movies do that, where you're kind of like, you feel like they could end. So much has happened already, and yet, oh my god, you're giving me more. There's more. It's going another direction. I didn't think that was great enough. That was a great movie in itself. Oh wait, now we're gonna get this stuff. Okay, I'm all for this. It's very hard to explain what I like about this movie without saying the things, but I think really good, really effective horror as well.
Yeah, you would say it is an effective horror. Tremendous performances. Also,
100%.
Would you agree, Char? Very funny in just the right places.
Yes, I think that's what I really liked about it, is that I feel like that's where it felt very Ben Wheatley in that sense of like he was funny whilst also being terrifying, and and sort of horrifying in a way that I'd not sort of thought of, and it has that kind of horror where it could kind of happen to anyone sort of thing, which makes it scarier. Very funny. I laughed a lot at this movie, but Ben Wheatley's very clever as a filmmaker. He knows he's going to make you laugh so that you're vulnerable, because you're vulnerable when you laugh, because you like the characters, and then as soon as you're vulnerable and you've just laughed, he's then going to scare the shit out of you or something. And I love that. I think that's such a great trick. I think all the best filmmakers do that as well.
You've reminded me of an absolutely stellar moment in the movie. And you know what? It's really making me happy just thinking about it, because obviously, we've been locked down for so long, and going to the cinema is something we really love doing.
Yeah.
And there's been a lot of mediocre movies. This was one that was really good. And just talking about it now, it just gives you so much joy, honestly. It's made me really happy.
Same.
We just need more really, really good movies.
I was really happy that you were happy, and then I looked at the bolo tie, and I just couldn't stop laughing. So I'm sorry that I laughed at you through that. It was the bolo tie.
That's okay. See, look, Martins of the world, or indeed just any listening to the podcast. We're probably not broadcasting to every Martin. This is premium nerd shit right here. All right, so don't worry if your name is super nerdy. Shit. It's hella nerdy.
So nerdy.
Premium nerd shit. That should be one of your Patreon tiers.
Hella
premium nerd shit.
Premium nerd shit.
So before we move on to Bad Batch, I thought it would be fun to play another round of Would They Go Down on Their Partner? And I have a new list for you.
Fantastic.
Okay. Regular segment, maybe.
You've been thinking about this a lot, haven't you?
I have, and I've come to
Zack Snyder.
Maybe next time.
Has he had enough of your attention?
oh, you weren't asking.
This one's more for Matt, but maybe next week I'll do one that's more for Charlie. Okay. So to start with, the Ninth Doctor.
Does the Ninth Doctor eat pussy? It's kind of a big question. Well,
It's kind of a big question.
the Doctor kind of hits puberty around the Eighth Doctor, but then he ends up going into the Time War and turning into John Hurt. And then he does kind of have the hots for Rose Tyler, but he plays it off platonic at that point. I'm going to say that he doesn't eat pussy, but it's not because he can't, it's more that he's just going through some stuff right now, and he's not really committing to anyone, and not really like, he's not doing anything. You know, to say he's not eating pussy is to say he's completely celibate, because he's so tortured by the fallout of the Time War. You know, the only thing that gets him off is seeing a Dalek, because all he wants to do is say, "Why don't you just die? Why don't you just die?" That's the best bit. That's the best bit.
We have lost Matt to the nerdgasm. I apologise. Your regularly scheduled show will begin shortly. We just have to let him laugh it out for a little bit. It's okay, guys.
Just let me laugh it out for a bit. Just let me laugh it.
I'm just going to get a beep on Matt's screen, and me and Terry will continue.
I don't know whether to continue with this, or I'm scared it's going to break him.
I feel like we're in a really bad like DC fan film. Like I'm the Joker in the straitjacket, going like, "Whoa, Batman! I'm so crazy." Oh my god! If we did a DC fan film, I reckon I could play like a kind of portly Joker, and Charlie could play like Dadbod Batman. And Terry, obviously you're absolutely perfect, so you can be anyone you want to be, baby. Anyway, moving on. I didn't want to get it in the neck today on the podcast, so it's all compliments for Terry today.
Aww, that's cute. Okay,
You've got nothings around your neck this podcast, haven't you?
It's because she could peanut my bolo tie through the screen.
That's how we do it.
Idea. Instead of ring in your neck, I can just pull it.
Just grab it. Like,
It's got a pulley system, isn't it?
you know.
You wouldn't want to strangle this face. Come on.
The next Full Fat podcast, Matt will not be joining us this week due to asphyxiation.
Yeah, see, I think that this is why Matt summed it up really about him being the Joker and me being the Batman, is because I constantly want to punch him. And even though I've been friends with him for 20 years, I couldn't do it to myself, you know, he's my best friend. And he knows he has that, you know, so he'll push every button he can. He's like a bit in the Dark Knight where he's like, "There's nothing you can do."
Yeah, like, I know when I'm starting to get to you because you'll start, like, going to poke me or whatever. And that's when I know, like, oh, he's reaching breaking point. I might have to sit down
He's getting physical.
Today. Yeah.
Amazing. Okay.
Please don't kill me.
Number 2 on the list is the 10th Doctor.
The 10th Doctor, yeah, I'd say he eats pussy. I mean, he was married to Queen Elizabeth. You know, yeah, he's supposed to be the romantic Doctor. I'd say he definitely eats pussy. Yeah.
Wonderful. And 11?
No. I love the 11th Doctor, but I mean, mate, okay. I don't think the initial 11th Doctor eats pussy. I don't think he eats pussy when River Song kisses him and his reaction is to sort of flail around like this, not knowing what to do with himself. But I do think possibly in the 200 years he ages between closing time and the wedding of River Song, he may have eaten pussy, is my answer.
So is this Matt Smith?
Yes, yeah.
I see.
Yeah. He's kind of, his thing is that he's a bit sexless and a bit of a grandpa. But then River Song, because it's written by Stephen Moffat, is an intensely sexual woman. So I could imagine he probably did end up eating pussy at some point, but it was a bit of a dry spell.
Oh.
We can't all be 10 with all these Earth girls.
And the 12th Doctor?
The 12th Doctor mows the pussy. Alright, there's no way. Are you kidding me right now? Peter Capaldi? Peter Capaldi's eyebrows are eating enough pussy for themselves.
I'm not sure that's what I'd want to look down and see.
What, Peter Capaldi's attack eyebrows?
No.
No, see, I think Peter Capaldi, he's the experienced gent. The 12th Doctor, around 2,000 years old. He's eaten a lot of pussy in many lives at that point. I think he's definitely going to town. Yeah, that's a man that is not afraid to love his woman. Yeah,
lovely. I love that.
Yeah.
And last but not least, the 13th Doctor.
I mean, you know, I think they definitely code the 13th Doctor as bisexual. So in the vein of this podcast, I would say yes. I think she definitely eats pussy.
Well, I'm glad we cleared that up.
And I guess that brings us on to the Bad Batch. And of course, the big return of a certain bounty hunter called Cad Bane. Terry, would you like to, now that Charlie has regaled us with a plot synopsis, would you like to synopsis the plot for this week's Bad Batch?
No, I wouldn't.
Go on. Go on.
I can't remember how it started and now I'm stressed.
Just to give us the rough summary and tell us whether you liked it or not.
Do you know what, Charlie? Matt always gets out of synopsizing things by asking us to do it.
I would usually agree with Matt trying to
I
get
did
away with
one
things.
earlier.
Yeah, he said it earlier. Yeah, that's what I was
And then
gonna
Charlie
say.
did one. Yeah.
He did say it at the start.
What are you trying to do here? What are you trying to put? I'm starting to think you haven't seen the episode.
No, I have seen it. I'm
Well, how
excited
come
to
you
talk
can't
about
recall
it.
anything about it?
Because you put me on the spot.
Cad Bane, what happened this week?
Well, he showed up later, didn't he?
Yeah.
Yeah. So before that, okay, I'm in it. I'm on it. Okay, so the Scrappers last week saw them and told the Empire, obviously. So then the Empire, they got what's his name? You know the one. Help me out.
Do I?
The one who shoots the clone.
Crosshair.
Thank you.
There we go.
Oh, you guys are making this so hard for me.
You just have to recall it.
So Crosshair gets his squad together and they go out there and they try and capture Omega and the Bad Batch because they're traitors. And then shenanigans ensue, and then the bounty hunter turns up and he shoots old Hunter and runs away with Omega. Did I miss anything big?
No, I think you got everything. I like that it remained in the same kind of place as last week. I feel like we've been constantly complaining, haven't we, Charlie, that Crosshair has not been getting on the tail, and this week he finally has. And it was cool to see Cad Bane again. Although,
It was kind
of
weird that we did the episode of Clone Wars where he got introduced, and then he happened in he turned up in this episode.
I enjoyed that.
Yeah.
I also thought it was like just the episode we've been waiting for.
Yeah, it is. At the same time, I don't mean to be a Debbie Downer, but it does feel a bit like week to week. It is, let's wheel out this old Clone Wars Rebels character. You like that, huh? You like that? We'll do that again next week. You know, and we know you'll keep watching. It does feel a little bit like that. You know? Because if Cad Bane hadn't have showed up, it would have been, it was good. You know, and I like the slightly more serious time they played this week. But would I have been as gassed? Maybe not.
Fair.
But again, maybe that's just where we're at with Star Wars at the moment. We talked about this last week, didn't we?
Yeah,
That's
I do
true.
feel the burnout.
Yeah.
But
The
I
fact-
feel like this episode did exactly what we've been asking for the last few weeks, and I think it did it in quite a good way. So I don't think we should have too much to complain about.
I guess we are berating this Saturday morning cartoon for being like a Saturday morning cartoon. I guess it's just like Loki's going to finish and we're still going to be doing it. And it just seems long.
Yeah.
And I'm not that invested in Crosshair and the Empire catching them as of yet.
But maybe we will.
Maybe we will.
Maybe it's going to get juicy.
I know a lot of people are having fun with it. I think we're just going to give Nancy's. But then also I think it is a combination of, I do think Mandalorian Season 2 was ultimately weaker than the first. It's cool we got Boba Fett coming. It's cool we got Obi-Wan coming. But we've just got so many things announced now. Whether they're going to be good or not, it's just starting to feel like... And particularly TV shows like The Acolyte. I know Rangers is cancelled, but like we've got Lando, Andor, Obi, and then more films. And then presumably Bad Batch now is going to be annual.
Yeah, it's not something that you're sat at home anticipating and waiting for anymore. Like, it's just being like dumped on your doorstep.
The event of Star Wars has dissipated a little bit since 2015.
Yeah,
absolutely.
Definitely. How do you guys feel about the writer of Acolyte saying that she's hired writers that have not seen Star Wars?
I think it can breathe... Sorry, Terry, you go.
I was going to say I think it could go one of two ways. It could breathe sort of like a fresh new life without being hung up on what's been done before, because I feel like a lot of what we're getting now is hang-ups on what's been done before, what we've already got. But then also there's all that detail that allows us to suspend our disbelief that these people, I guess, don't know.
Yeah.
So...
Yeah, I'm torn because I do think it is the kind of universe where I think you should have at least a little bit of a background and a passion for it.
Yes.
But then at the same time, I think that kind of passion and adherence and love for it is what leads J.J. Abrams to making boring Star Wars. So as long as the Acolyte's good and it feels like authentic Star Wars, does it really matter how the sausage is made? Probably not.
That's true. That is true. I would agree with that 100% what you guys said. I think the only thing that I guess I would be concerned with would be losing the heart of Star Wars, or not quite understanding that. I mean, I think there's an issue with a lot of the fans anyway, who see Star Wars as like, lightsabers and Jedi Knights, and they're gonna chop people up, and the Jedi's are soldiers, and they all this sort of stuff. Whereas, like, I don't know, I feel like Star Wars is more heartfelt and more sort of spiritual, I guess, than that.
I do sort of feel like you can capture the heart of Star Wars simply by being anti-fascist.
I think it's always interesting when people say though that Star Wars is spiritual, and it's some people see the Jedi's more as soldiers and see it too action heavy, but obviously it is still an action franchise. Yes. I think it's more just about like finding, as with all of Star Wars, the balance between the two.
Exactly. Yeah.
We want, you want the breathtaking duels of like Empire and Revenge coupled with the incredible art design and a sweeping grand operatic space story. And I guess there's just a worry that the sheen's kind of coming off when we're being bombarded with it.
Yes.
Or we're about to be anyway.
Definitely. But yeah, maybe it'll breathe some new life. So maybe that'll be good.
Maybe it will, and maybe we'll be more excited about Star Wars again.
Yeah, who knows?
Charlie, you told me before we went on to the podcast that you watched The Mitchells versus the Machines this week.
I did.
What did you think?
I enjoyed it. I thought it was really fun. I had a lot of fun with it. I really liked the relationship between the dad and the daughter. I thought that was really good. I liked the AI stuff with the robots and stuff. I thought that was cool. I thought that was a really clever idea. I kind of liked the kind of... I thought the two friend robots that they have were hilarious. I could not stop laughing at them. Yum Yum Good was killing me. I had a blast of it. I think that there are some things where I think there's some stuff that really makes it different and its own unique thing, and I do think there's other things where it kind of goes a bit too tropey in some areas, like a bit too cliche in some areas.
How would you say?
I would say, in a sense that I feel like, I don't know, the motivations of the robot, I don't know, it's a tough one. When I was watching it, I just felt like I was having a great time with it, but it was getting to the point towards the end where I was kind of getting like, feel like seen some of this before.
Do you know
I don't have any
what?
examples, per se.
I was actually watching the whole thing thinking, I've seen this before.
Yeah,
So it's weird that you say that, because I kept saying it to you, didn't I, Matt?
Yeah.
I can't quite put my finger on it. I think it's a movie I need to, for one, rewatch and sit and watch on my own. I was watching it with someone at the time, and we were laughing and having a good time watching it. But I think there was a lot of stuff in it that I feel like I would like to watch on my own and really take in. I think some of the heartfelt moments were difficult, I think, to take in on when you're watching it with people, per se. And I think maybe because you're focusing more on the... I really like I feel like I've not said my reason why. I feel like I need to... I'll maybe come back to you guys next week and really try and think about what it was. I can't really figure out scenes on the spot. I don't know why. But I remember at the time thinking this, and there were specific things that were bothering me. But I did really like I did actually like the whole thing of like her showing the short film and stuff to her dad, and her dad sort of not quite understanding it or liking it, and having that be the sort of the crux of where the arc would come for their relationship. I thought that was really good, and how that gets called back towards the end. I thought that was really clever.
Charlie, the reason why I brought up the film is because you said there was something that we said last week that we want to get into more when you'd seen it, so we get a bit more spoilerific. And initially I couldn't remember what it was, and then I was like, oh yeah, it's Terry, you said that you thought the mum was really well drawn, and I have to say I did think the only moment for me on a character level that I thought was a bit like, what? Was when she suddenly went batshit insane about the robots like attacking her boy, and then she became this like warrior. It felt really unearned, and only because like I know obviously it's an animated kids movie, they're going to start smashing up robots, whatever, but I just feel like the movie did such a good job of establishing that they're killer robots, they're squishy humans, and every problem they face with these robots, they need to sort of outthink them, and they need to use sort of like ingenuity and gadgets and tech and like cobbling things together and getting in the car and all this sort of stuff. And it just
were Jar Jar in their way, wasn't they? They were Jar Jar Binks in their way through the scenario, which I quite liked.
Yeah. And it felt really incongruent to the movie for her to suddenly just become this ninja warrior kicking ass.
She became Beatrix Kiddo.
And also it's very matriarchal, isn't it? It's very like, oh, I guess my arc is a sort of half-assed motherhood arc here. You know, obviously that's one part of her arc, but it just seemed weird.
Yeah, part of her was like very much like, I am the side character here to facilitate sort of thing, but it makes me think of, you know, those stories that you hear of like mothers lifting their cars off their babies and stuff and having like mad adrenaline. Just like, so I like to think of it as that, and I had absolutely no problem with it. I thought it was really fun, and it's a really good example of a mother's love.
But do you see what I'm saying? It's not that because she's a mother that I don't want her to be kicking ass.
I totally get that.
You know, it's just that like I feel like the film's built around like brains over brawn.
Yes. Can we just pause 1 second? I just need to plug my laptop in. Sorry. I've got 2%.
Plug your laptop. You can catch this laptop at the Full Fat Podcast.
MacBook Pro. I go to Apple. Don't do that. They've got enough promotion. Everyone knows.
Well, is that everything you want to say on Mitchell's?
I feel like it's really annoying. I come to the tier today before like having all these things I wanted to say, and I've come on the podcast. This happens quite a lot. You sort of freeze sometimes, so your mind goes blank. And I'm like, for God's sake, like I had a point earlier when I was talking about the cliche thing that I remember I was going to talk to you guys about, and I've bloody forgotten it, and it's so frustrating.
Sometimes there's really good things you want to talk about, and you save it to the podcast, and then you forget. Or something really eloquent comes out of your mouth when we're not filming, and I'm like, damn, that would have been a great debate for the podcast.
Yes, no, all the time. Yeah, that's so true.
I always go to bed like after the podcast. I'm in bed like thinking like I should have said this. I should have said that.
That's so true. I really liked the animation. I want to say that I really liked the animation style, and I really liked the like you said, guys. I said last week, the sort of way it integrates modern technology, YouTube, the digital age that we're in. Also using the Rihanna song. That was a great moment when I don't know how much we should say. Actually, I just realised. Did we spoil stuff last time?
We kind of went spoilerific last week, so
yeah. So
I feel like if there's a danger of, like, if something's just come out, like in the Earth, and I would encourage people to see it. Let's not be spoilery, but something like this, it's been out for a little while.
Yeah. It's on Netflix as well. So
yeah.
But yeah, no. I really like the bit when the Rihanna song played towards the end with the dad and the daughter. That was a really good moment of like, that kind of got me. Use of music. Feels really good. Yeah, I really love their relationship. I thought it was so good. I thought that was really good.
It made me see that song in a new way as well.
Yes, definitely.
Yeah.
Like you associate with that scene probably now.
It's more of like a kind of dramatic, exciting song.
Yeah. The dog pig thing was so funny as well. Dog pig bread.
That kills me.
That was really funny.
So funny.
Just before we go, there's one more piece of media I would like to cover, because this weekend me and Terry binged the entire second season of Temptation Island. Temptation Island, Charlie.
It was wild.
Basically, you remember that clip we spoke about a few weeks ago that you've seen of that guy going like, and like seeing his girlfriend screw some other dude on national television? We finally saw the immense build up to that. And not only is the preamble more horrifying than you could possibly imagine, but the post is also so embarrassing. It was unmissable reality TV. It really was. Would you not agree, Terry?
It's just, I just can't like get my mind around the show. Like, these people go to an island that is like, they may as well call it like Cheetah Island, because you go in there to cheat. Like, there is no way you're going there to fix your relationship, and like to go into a house with like 12 other singles who all just want to shag you. Like,
yeah, so for context, the way it's divided is there's 4 men, 4 women in both houses, and they're connected, they're partners, and then it's 6 men and 6 women.
They're in long-term relationships.
Yeah, and then 6 bachelors and bachelorettes come in to try and tempt them away, and they're basically getting flooded with attention. I think it's more than 6 actually, isn't it? Isn't it 3?
12.
So what?
Each.
So mate, there's 3 people to every 1 guy or girl that are single trying to go for them.
But what my question is what's the purpose or the reason behind the couples going in? Are they trying to prove how strong their relationship is?
No,
yes.
Well, no, it's their relationships are at a crossroads, and they're like trying to like.
Well, that's a terrible idea.
Well,
it's a terrible idea. If their relationships are at a crossroads, you
One guy goes in there and he's like, I'm bringing you here to prove that you can trust me and that we can spend our lives together. And then he has a threesome. And then has sex with a different girl.
Yeah. Like, all of them going into it are looking to cheat. Or it's very interesting the way it plays out kind of psychologically. A lot of them are projecting their own insecurities onto the other person and getting really worried that they're going to cheat. Like, there's this one woman, right? She's really worried her boyfriend's going to cheat, right? She keeps berating him for it, right? And then at the dinner, before they're about to split off, she starts smiling and cheesing about this other guy that she just met at the thing. And then the boyfriend's straight up like, you're cheesing, like you're vibing him.
I'm trying to keep this very PG. Your eyes are saying rated R, though.
And then, mate, the same night, she sleeps with him. And then, at the campfire...
2 nights later.
What, 2 nights later. And then at the campfire, the boyfriend is forced to sit there and watch it. And, like, you're watching it. You're seeing these dudes go, and these girls go, like, literally going, like... Do you know what I mean? Like, you would not want to watch that. No one would want to see that.
That sounds savage. The show sounds absolutely savage.
Mate,
like,
you don't know the half
torture,
of it.
Like, honestly...
The Ashley Casey storyline is the most savage, right? Because with every situation, there's a little bit of both of them give as good as they get, right? This Casey guy is a bit of a douche. He, he says some things like, "Oh, I wouldn't care if Ashley left me. I'd just go back to like sleeping around," right? But the show is so manipulative because what it does is it doesn't show his girlfriend him in the hot tub by himself whilst everyone else is playing away. It shows them the worst possible things So the other partner will then go, well, if they're doing that, then I'm going to do this, right?
Oh,
so
that's
it escalates.
really bad. That's
Yeah.
actually
No, it
really
is.
problematic, isn't it?
it's
Because you could
really
really
bad.
recontextualize some things.
Yeah,
Do
there
you
was
know what I
one
mean?
shot
Like certain
where
shots.
there was one shot where he was like, I am not putting my energy into any of these other women because I'm focused on my girlfriend. He's just sat in his hot
Yeah.
tub on his own while other people are getting it on, and like she's boning this other guy like loved up with him, and
Yeah.
it shows him being like, yeah, no, I don't care if she broke up with me. Like it's so like it's ridiculous.
No, but mate, the best part about it, right, is Ashley, right? She gets dicks down on national TV, right, in front of her boyfriend, right? And then they have to send videos to each other afterwards. And Casey sends a video going, literally, as soon as it starts, Ashley, I love you so much, please come home to me, blah, 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 right?
Oh no.
No, mate. He goes to open up her one, right? All she says basically is, I don't regret it. And then she switches off. And then he's like looking at it like... And then, right, he gets another bright idea. He decides at the final, like, sort of campfire, he's going to propose. And, like, she's fully... Like, they keep cutting back to her talking about this other guy, and she is, like, falling for him.
So sad.
Yeah. And then he proposes, and you can tell that he is not only trying everything he can to get to say yes.
It's the last straw, isn't it? It's the last thing he has.
But it's also, like... The fact that the cameras are on no longer matters because he keeps saying things like, "You're my baby, baby. I want you to be my baby, baby forever." And he's like kissing her knee, like he's on his knees, like kissing her, and she's just sat there. She's just sat there like, it's an absolute roasting.
And he just didn't show up to the reunion. He was like, I
No.
can't do it.
Oh, and the best bit is that 2 days after the show ended, this guy that she fell for stopped texting her back.
Oh no.
So, and that is just one of the storylines. There's multiple storylines, and each of them are pretty good.
And like you can tell that like the people in the house don't actually care about getting with the people in relationships. They like, but if they do, they get more screen time.
Yeah.
So they're giving it all the seduction and the lovey-dovey, and then as soon as they leave, they're like, yeah, bye.
One guy watches his girlfriend having sex, and you can see the subtitles, and the guy's going, "Do you like that? Do you like that?" And he's watching it. He's watching it.
No, mate. This sounds more savage of a reality show than The Ultimate Fighter, which is a show where MMA fighters kick the shit out of each other each week and live in the same house
Let me
together.
bang, bro.
Let me bang, bro.
I want to do that, man. Let me bang.
I do.
I do let you bang, bro.
Isn't that it? I do.
I do. I will. Let me bang, bro. Yeah, that sounds savage, mate.
There's a certain quality to reality TV that is just you can't look away because you can't believe can't believe what you're seeing, and you also can't believe that people would sign up for this.
No, yeah. It's a real interesting study to like human beings, isn't it?
Yeah.
Of just like,
And
what,
there's no prize either. They don't win money.
No money.
Or anything. They just
what the fuck
like,
is this show? Is
Yeah.
it still going or has it been cancelled?
The third season's just aired, I think.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh no, the
What?
best part. No, the best part. We were dying of laughter the whole way through. It's hosted by Mark Wahlberg, right?
What?
No. It's his TV non-union equivalent. The guy's called Mark Wahlberg, but it's some old guy. No.
Mark L. Wahlberg.
Yeah, well, he's credited in the credits as Mark L. Wahlberg, right? But
Is
in
the
the
Wahlberg
show,
spelled the same?
Yeah. But in the show, sometimes he just comes up as Mark Wahlberg.
That's so funny.
It's so funny.
That's so
We
kept-
couldn't get
kept
Mark
giggling.
Wahlberg. We couldn't get Mark Wahlberg. It's okay. We've booked Mark L. Wahlberg.
For some reason, all I could imagine, like when you first said that, was like Marky Mark sitting there, be like, over here we got the fly honeys, over here we got the fly hunks, and today
Over here we got a transformer.
they gonna get tempted on Temptation Island. I can't do a Boston accent, as you can tell. But yeah, that's hilarious.
It
Yeah,
was
no.
so funny. It was an intense day of watching. We had to take multiple breaks for our own well-being.
Yes,
Yeah.
I imagine.
And like you constantly feel sorry for them, but also berate them because, like in one scene, they'll be playing away, tempted by someone out of their relationship, and then in another scene, you're watching them go through the most incredible pain imaginable, getting front row seats to watching their partner cheat. So you're constantly flip-flopping between, oh, no one should have to see that, to, oh shit.
Yeah, I can imagine that. That sounds hilarious.
Well, this has been the Full Fat Podcast. I think that's a glorious moment to end it on.
Yes.
As we temptation you for next week.
Come back, please.
We temptate you. I've been Matt Whittle of Full Fat Videos. You can catch me on Twitch at Matt_Full Fat Videos. You can catch me on Instagram at Full_Fat_Videos. You can catch me on Twitter at Full Fat Videos. Listen, I've got a bone to pick with you guys. Why is no one watching that Borderlands video? It completely tanked. This is embarrassing. I need you guys to click on that shit, comment for the algorithm, and you better watch my Stonking Fast and Furious video this week.
The Borderlands video is actually a very good video.
It is a very good video.
Thank you. Look, sometimes these videos bomb. I haven't had a bomb like that in quite some time. But it happens sometimes, you know, when I got 1 million views on the Iron Man video next week, dropped a video on review, and that got like 5k. So it happens, you know, but having said that, this time I don't want it to happen. So if you want to click on it, that would be very helpful. And get your mum, dads, aunties, uncles, you know, cats, if they want to sit through them, sit through it to the end, click through all the ads, we're cushy. Terry,
if we get enough money, we can have Markel Wahlberg on the podcast.
That'd be amazing.
Yes. If you get the Borderlands video to 20k, that's how pathetic you're making me, internet. If you get the Borderlands video to 20k, I will. What will I do? Something embarrassing. I'll do a whole podcast episode topless, and you can see
Fantastic.
my nipples. Yeah, that's what I'll do.
That's nothing special for me.
Nothing special for you. This every damn day. This is goddamn special for you. All right. This is a fucking privilege to get to touch this. All right. Talking about this not being special, girl. Give me your goddamn socials before I change my mind.
Just search Terry Birkin and you'll find me, baby.
Short but sweet. Charlie?
You can find me on the other podcast that I do, Your Threat Film is Awful.
Louder with Crowder.
No. No, definitely not that guy. So you can find me at Your Threat Film is Awful. You can find me on Twitter at Lemonjuice. Twitter at LemonJuiceLily or Twitter at FabFilmIsAwful. Or you can find me on Instagram at LemonJuiceLily, at CharlieLily, at Your Threat Film is Awful. So check it out and watch Matt's Borderlands video. Do it.
One thing I would also like to bring up just before we go, just my last kind of final thought, is that Charlie obviously likes to bring up Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu a lot, and sometimes in inorganic ways. And I just thought it was really funny that earlier we were watching Sam Crowder. Is it Sam Crowder? Louder Crowder. We watched him run away from H3, and just before he did all that, he inorganically mentioned that he does Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu. He just had to get it in there, even though it was completely irrelevant to the conversation. And I just thought watching you watch that was a thing of beauty.
What's funny is that I've not actually done that on this podcast. So I do.
No, it's just something you do in real life that they'll just have to take my word for it.
I guess so.
I've never heard Charlie talk about jiu-jitsu, not once.
Not once, no, me neither. He never brings it up.
Hey, look, guys.
He never asks us what we think about the fighters' chances or tells us about their stats.
Guys, you know I'm a very passionate man. You know, there's two things that I'm incredibly obsessed and passionate with, and that is movies and martial arts. Okay, and the
martial arts.
and the martial arts, right? And you know, as we all are, well, as well, Matt, you are as well. When we're very passionate about something, you can't help but talk about it 24/7. It's very difficult. It's very difficult not to, you know. I try my best to not bring it out too inorganically. I hope in my heart that I've never brought it up in the same way that he brought it up, because I thought that was I thought that was more like, hey, do you know that I do this? Whereas
wasn't it?
But my old Brazilian jiu-jitsu coach always said, if you come a switch, we go switch. You go spicy, we're going to do a little spicy.
It was.
Yeah, whereas I hope I never come across that way, because that would hurt me deeply. Yeah, I always try to do it. Well, I hope so. I try to do it from a point of interest, maybe, or making it interesting, bringing it in. If we watch a fight scene in a movie, I go, "Oh, that's a move," and blah blah blah. But the way he said that.